Enjoy the meeting, hopefully. Make a good contribution as
I'm
always.
very pleased to be back here. If I may, just thank everyone for their good deeds. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Right, any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chairman, Councillor Matthew Brooke.
Any declarations of interest? Oh, Councillor Franks.
Just again, similar to the committee meetings, I believe that I probably need to declare, because of the Green Party parliamentary candidates, that I probably will abstain from any voting.
Item 3, to confirm as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 29th of April 2024 at the council chamber, St Richard's House. Can I have a proposer to accept those as read? Thank you, Councillor Duffy, and a seconder.
I'm happy to second.
Tom?
Sorry, I'm happy to second those all.
Also, thank you very much. Okay. And 4, to confirm a correct record, that has a correct record rather, the minutes of the meeting of the annual council held on 13th of May 2024 at the community hall, which has also been circulated. Now a proposer for these, please. Councillor Mrs. Bowden, and the seconder, Councillor King.
And all in favour of the vote.
And all in, oh, sorry, I didn't vote, did we? So, all those in favour for both of those, please vote. Any against? Any abstentions? Oh, because you weren't there. Yes, that's right. Great, yeah. Thank you. Moving on to Mayor's announcements. Having served as Mayor for 5 weeks, I've already attended a varied selection of interesting and enjoyable events. It was an honour to meet up with the Falklands veterans who stopped off to their memorial roof in Droitwich during their cycle ride from Land's End to John O'Groats. It was also a privilege to take part in our D-Day commemoration events. I know you'll all want to join me in thanking our officers and heritage team for organising these so well. A truly memorable weekend was Operation Bedspring, when a group of 16 visitors from our twin town of Bardens came to visit. The visit was a great success, and I'm pleased to report that the twinning organisation is thriving. Just to add that Eleanor and I were so taken by the friendliness we received from our guests, especially the mayor who we hosted, and their description of Bardens, that we are spending a holiday there for a few days at the end of October. 2 events I attended involved some of our younger residents. One was the passing out of the fire cadets. Nice to see you here, Dan, because you were there, weren't you? Our fire cadets, where I was struck by the discipline and dedication of the students. Last week, I attended a splendid production of The Wizard of Oz at Whittam Middle School, which was also very good, although we didn't get Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but it was a completely different set of music. Excellent production. On a more serious note, I remind councillors of our policing priorities of antisocial behaviour, drugs and speeding. Also to remind you of our campaign against unauthorised parking on our pavements. Any major contraventions should be reported to the relevant authorities or through our town clerk. Forthcoming events include the Armed Forces Day on the 29th of June at 11 AM, when we'll raise the flag. And on 15th of August, there will be a motorcycle night, which is a collaboration between the Town Council and the Place Board. Just to warn the Deputy Mayor, I'm going to be in Dordogne on that day, so I want to do it. So you have to bring your own motorbike. Finally, I'm sure you'll all join me in congratulating Rebecca Redfern, our Droitwich Paralympic swimmer, on being awarded the MBE in the King's Birthday Honours a few days ago, in recognition of her services to young people and the community of Worcestershire. I've asked the town clerk to send a message of congratulations to Rebecca on our behalf. Thank you, there are my announcements. The next item is a very important one, and it's nice to see you here. To receive the report on policing matters in Droitwich Spa.
Thank you. Okay, right. Evening, everyone. Okay, so it's the same sort of format that I do every sort of month, but obviously the first category is the burglary dwellings. So looking through our stats over the last 3 months, it's still relatively low, thankfully. So our burglaries, April, we've got 1, May, 3, and in June 2. So you see they're relatively quite low. And the type of burglaries, we've actually dwelling burglaries, and we've had a vehicle stolen and just sort of general items. So that's the kind of thing that we've had over the last sort of couple of months. Again, our procedure still remains the same. So if there's any reports of burglaries, we go out and visit each victim. We give them smart water. We visit neighbours. We now put out a report on neighbourhood matters, asking for witnesses, any information, and obviously we go out to the addresses along with our patrol teams, and we review any potential CCTV, ring doorbells, any potential evidence. So still the same procedure. And then we go through then to our commercial burglaries. So predominantly they're going to be our industrial estates, businesses. Again, relatively quite low, as you can see from the stats. 2 which we've got suspicious, and 2 attempts. So they're 2, obviously, where people have been seen walking around and someone's pulled it up, or someone's actually caused some criminal damage but haven't actually got into the premises. The issue that I've put on here, we've had some churches, it's last month, so some had some items stolen from some of the local churches, and had some criminal damage caused in the process. So we had a department which created one of our problem solving plans to have a look at the problem, see if we could address the issue. So when we were doing some of our CCTV collections, we identified a person in the area. Didn't have enough for prosecution, unfortunately, but we paid this person a visit. They had a community protection notice warning, and I've looked at the stats and obviously spoken to some of the churches, and there's been no issues since. So hopefully that potentially was the person, and it's nipped it in the bud. But if there's any further issues, obviously we'll reassess. Then antisocial behaviour. So again, just emphasise that the importance of reporting, still under reporting. So far this month we've got 8 reports of antisocial behaviour, but that could be between some of the youth or adults. It doesn't have to be your stereotypical antisocial behaviour where you're thinking of. Obviously the things that we're trying to address are the graffiti issues which still remain, and just sort of like the general petty sort of antisocial behaviour. People getting into the Raven, obviously we've had issues with that, and obviously they're things that we address constantly. We've now got a new policing process called hotspot areas. So our hotspot areas are stats driven. So we've got 2 at the moment in Droitwich. So we've got Friar Street, we'll go with it. There's not a lot of issues there, but because there's 2 pubs there, there's been some violence over the last 3 years reported. So even though we don't have a huge problem down there, there has been issues there previously. And then we've got another one which covers by Vines Park into Waitrose. And what that means is that we have to patrol those areas for at least 18 minutes at one time, and that's supposed to have an impact on the crime in that area. So we're doing that at the moment, and I think what they'll do eventually after a month or so is reassess it to see if it's made an impact, and then obviously it will be widened into different areas. So it's a bit of a trial at the moment. So we've got the hotspot areas that we're doing. Let's see what I've written on here. So anyone that we identify as causing any antisocial behaviour, each one is visited by the local policing team and spoken to the parents. We've got letters that go out to them, community protection notices, and then they're on the ASB scale, so which means that potentially they can keep them committing ASB, they can get a criminal behaviour order. So that's the aim if they continue. But it's basically working with them jointly with our partners, particularly housing, to try and address the issue. We've got some operations which are coming up. Obviously I can't say much more about that, but we've got a couple of operations which we do plainclothes patrols, getting some extra officers from elsewhere, and we'll be patrolling certain areas, underpasses, parks, try and identify those that are causing the issues, and obviously addressing, either arresting them if they're causing any problems, obviously stop searches, and obviously whatever they do, we've dealt with. We're visiting schools, trying to get information from schools again to try and identify the graffiti. We're now running drop-in sessions every Friday at Droitwich High School to speak to the youth there, to just get information from them and to see if they'll disclose any information to us. What else is important on here? I don't know if you've seen recently, but I'm going to link in the drug issue with the ASB. So we had reports of cannabis cultivation on the high street, and we managed to get a warrant for that premises and successfully see 600 plants of cannabis in that property. We're continuing to collect intel about other properties which may be cultivating, or other properties that may be dealing from the address. So we're looking at potentially building up intelligence to create more warrants. So that's what we're dealing with at the moment. So I can't really go much more into that, but we're just getting some more intelligence about those in the Droitwich area. 2 males were arrested from the shop in Droitwich, and they've been charged and they've been dealt with now. Okay, so going to violence, again, remains low in Droitwich. There's not much more I can say about that. I've noted on here we've had 2 robberies in May, but those robberies are actually a theft from a shop, and during that theft, the security guard had something thrown at him. So that falls under the definition of a robbery. So that's crimed as one, and then someone tried to steal a bike. It was an attempt theft of a bike, but during that, someone lashed out. So obviously that comes out as a robbery, the definition. But it normally remains quite low. Our violence recorded on our system is mainly to do with domestics. So even though it says on here, like, we've got 13 in April, 9 in May, 11 in June, predominantly a lot of those might be neighbourhood disputes or domestics. So stranger violence is very low. Shoplifting, again, trying to encourage reporting, is getting better. We are visiting the high streets, we are getting into the shops. We've had another meeting with some of the businesses to try and get more of an idea about what's going on and how we can help. We've got another one coming up in July to have a chat with them again, preparing for the summer holidays and maybe ASB as well, linking in with that, to see what problems are and trying to nip it in the bud. But yes, we've had meetings with the shops. We've gone around all the shops as well to try and include them on the WhatsApp group, so they can all help each other and share information and share photographs of anyone that's causing any issues. The shops are regularly patrolled. We're getting some posters to say that the shops are working together on the WhatsApp group, so it's obviously just to put it out there that the shops are working with the police as a deterrent, really. And then I'm hoping nothing changes, but on the 15th of July, my new police officer starts, who will be town and business PC. So he's going to be allocated to just dealing with the shops, businesses, and obviously building up a rapport with the shops and the businesses, and helping collect CCTV and try and identify suspects and get that process done quickly. Theft motor vehicle, again, really low. 2 in April, 1 May, and 0 this month so far. But again, if there's any theft from motor vehicles, we go out and treat it like a burglary. I get the team to go out, go and check CCTV, ring doorbells, and any forensic opportunities to try and identify the suspects. So that's from vehicle. We've got theft of motor vehicle, and again, that remains low as well, thankfully. It's the odd occasion we may have a car stolen or a motorbike, but thankfully it's quite low. And again, we do exactly the same thing. So we work with our intelligence departments and see if there's any other vehicles which are involved, and try and identify the suspects. But that's about it, really. So I don't know if anyone's got any questions that's in the report, anything that you want to highlight.
That's basic, yes.
Thanks, Laura. I think I read that Worcester Police are confiscating illegal e-scooters.
We have been doing that, so we have been doing some seizures. I cover Pershore as well, so between the two of us, so Droitwich and Pershore, we have got the power to see, particularly if we see it, or if we've got some footage, because I know someone sent us some footage recently. So we can either deal with it as going out and speaking to Ms ASB, if they're not doing it at the time, but certainly if we see them being ridden, we can actually take it off them, and we have done quite a few so far.
Got another question.
No,
Sorry.
I was just going to say, because also the e-scooters are classed as mechanically propelled vehicles, so it's like a car. So if anyone's driving, not only are they illegal, so we can seize them, actually a person can be reported for no insurance and no driving licence.
Good.
And they'll be crushed anyway, because you're never going to be able to produce those documents.
Thank you very much.
And the second question, Councillor Franks did raise the problem of vehicles parking and obstructing footpaths.
Yeah.
Now, where I live, there are vehicles with two wheels obstructing footpaths. Some are green, some are brown, and some are black. And they're Wychavon wheelie bins.
Oh, the wheelie bins.
And I thought I'd get this mentioned, in as much as they're worse than cars, because they're all over the place on the pavement. A lot of the people who aren't working driving them quickly. But I'm not going to suggest you send as opposed to Wychavon or anything, but I just thought I'd like to get it recorded on camera,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to call you.
Yeah, I mean, no, that would go through the council, that, would
It is
be anything that
obstruction.
I mean, if it was a car, which is unable to be moved, we have been going out and obviously speaking to, I know we've been getting reports through to say that they're blocking the pavement, and it would be, because we would not do anything if they were just slightly parked on the pavement. However, we would then deal with an obstruction, or if it's in a dangerous position. So if a car's parked on a pavement where obviously a wheelchair or something can't pass, the wheelie bins, obviously they're easily moved.
But
So-
it's the Wychavon operatives that leave them on the
Yeah.
road. And you can't get a wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
that would be-
to interrupt, would it be useful if you take a photograph of
Oh,
the
will,
situation,
yeah.
so that we know exactly what the situation is?
I
I find it quite hard to believe, but I'm sure I'm sure you're right, but yes, Councillor Franks.
For Councillor Davidson, I have been in touch with the district council, because I was picking down Mayflower Road, and it was a pretty bad example of what you've been talking about for a while. So I did report it. They have talked to the operatives. It was a bit of an improvement since, not to say perfect, but a bit of an improvement. But just on the other side of it is, whilst it's easy for able people to move bins, it's not so easy for wheelchair users to move bins. So they are, I would say that there is a concern there still with disabled people and bins being in the middle of paths. So I do think we need a much bigger campaign on this, to sort of highlight, because still people haven't got a clue, and it's still a big problem. I don't know whether I'd be shopping about 50 people a day at this rate if I start taking.
I'm pleased to say we have got a member of the press here this evening, so she'll take a note of that, Sonny. It's one of our major things we're concerned about, and it's very common. You're dead right on the road. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Any other questions, Councillor Brooks?
Thank you, Chairman. Just going back to the scooters, and I'm glad to hear what you're saying about being able to get some of them off the road. They obviously are very dangerous. But I think a lot of people still don't realise that they are illegal, as you said, they're actually a vehicle. And I just wondered whether we could get a bit more publicity, perhaps to put people off from buying them in the first place. In fact, it would be lovely to get some body cam footage, say on Midlands News or some photos in the local press, just showing being.
Yeah, we do tend to publicise it, so we have put information out on our social media previously. So I know, I don't know if it was our last meeting actually, where it was raised, and we have put it out on our social media. And I know Pershore have, so we have a couple of times just to obviously go through the legislation and the law around e-scooters. The problem is, which is probably something that needs to be addressed, is actually people that are selling the e-scooters, because we can put it out there, but it's obviously they're selling it to family, and they don't realise that actually you can only use those on private land rather than sort of public. So they're selling people don't tend to understand. I mean, obviously, we've put quite a bit out, and then we get a lot of negativity. And you can imagine through the Facebook, because it's obviously there's certain places where it is legalised, like Birmingham, because they've obviously got projects and stuff running in these different areas. And people just don't understand. And every time we put something out, they think it's an exercise for us to collect money for the police. So I think what we may need to do, and I think we should better tactic, would maybe to actually contact and speak to places that actually sell them, just about being transparent. But again, they're a business, so they will
I
probably
guess the legislation doesn't support you there.
No.
Unfortunately.
no. So that's the difficulty. So they're selling it to people, they're using it on pavements and roads, and then we have to come along and try and seize them. But a lot of people don't understand still. They can't use them on roads. But
I mean, I appreciate it's difficult, and you obviously do what you can on publicity. I mean, but I was actually contacted as a councillor by somebody very irate because his son had his scooter confiscated, and I had to just politely explain that, sorry, but that's perfectly correct.
Yeah, and they will be crushed as well, so they can't be returned, because they would have to go in with their driving licence, insurance, and you're never going to get that many scooters. They will be crushed.
Can I just ask myself, how much do they cost when the people buy them?
How much they cost?
Yes,
They're
how much
a
do
lot
they
of
pay
money. I don't know, but they're a lot.
And it gets confiscated and crushed.
Yeah.
I bet they're delighted,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're not happy.
No.
But we then do put it on social media when we do seize them, being taken away, we do tend to put it out
I have a
there.
picture of one in the crusher.
Yeah.
Councillor Mrs Fellows, the other question.
Yeah, I can.
Hello.
Just wondered, I read some of your information today, and I've just noticed, what's your ETA on burglaries?
For patrol, it's different to SMT. So for us, we would have to, I'll have to get back to you on the actual ones for patrol, but for local policing team, it's different. So we have to go out within 5 days, but the initial response, if it's patrol, so it's quite quick, but I can't say how many hours, I can't remember off the top of my head. So there will be a time for patrol to go out and make the attendance, because you need to think about, there's lots of different circumstances. So if it's just recently happened, obviously we want to get there quickly, because there may be people still on scene, forensic opportunities. So we think about the hour that we need to get there and try and collect forensics. And so, but we'll have to get back to you the exact time on that.
I've just noticed on your, not yours, but the information, you seemed a hell of a time for people to have to wait for somebody to attend that burglary, especially if it's
Burglars are horrendous.
Yeah.
It's horrendous on the victim. It's a massive impact, and we understand that. So the control rooms do try and have a look at resources and prioritise these different. I mean, obviously, it depends on what's happening at the time. If there is something which is higher, because I don't know if we've got an intent murder or something like that, which a lot of people may be seeing, they do prioritise, but they do try that window and obviously get people to the actual address, but I'll have to get back to you on the actual stats on that, because obviously I don't deal with that side of it. But from a local policing point of view, hopefully they should have already been seen, and then from a local policing point of view, then we will go out and do the follow-up stuff. So we will go and help, because patrols are very much job to job, and so the next job to the grade 1. So we will go out from a local policing point of view, and we will have a look at forensics. So we will have a look at forensic opportunities, maybe do a bit more work around that. We will go and do the CCTV around the area to see if it's picked up anything, ring doorbells, speak to neighbours. We give out smart water to a couple of the neighbours and the victim, and we just go around, and then obviously we put it onto Neighbourhood Matters to try and get witnesses and witness appeals and stuff like that. But patrol get there quicker to actually deal with the emergency, but we'll have to get back to you on the actual time on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just following up on that, there was car theft in our area, and your team were out within 24 hours, and I know that was much appreciated, because on every house in the neighbourhood, they were very much relieved and thanked.
Yeah, it's a kind of theft from vehicle, and we don't tend to have our forensics that go out, because it's really difficult to get forensics. But theft of vehicle, because it's a high value crime, I make sure that my team get out, as soon as it comes in, and we're aware of it that day, to go out and see if there's any opportunity of trying to
I
identify.
know they were appreciative. But the point I wanted to raise, and I'm sure it's on your radar, was the 2 recycling bins on Morrison's car park that was set alight over the weekend.
Okay.
I don't know if
I
that's,
no, I was
okay.
aware of that. I've been saying I haven't even checked the logs this week because I've been inundated with a lot of stuff. So I wasn't aware of the actual fire. Again, that's probably going to the ASB umbrella with some kids messing around. Yeah. So I'll have to follow that up.
Morrison's car park.
It's Councillor Franks.
It's just a question about restorative justice. I am a supporter of it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, whilst after a bit of clearing of graffiti and that, Councillor Brazier has been absolutely destroying it recently. And my concern is that if Councillor Brazier is doing a lot of the work and then you catch the criminal, how do we know that proportionally that person is doing a reasonable amount of restorative justice to make up for the crime they've done, if there's not that many tags left?
Yeah, the ones that we've done so far, I'll just put it RJ. So just make it shorter. For some of them, it's not going to be suitable. So for the ones that are causing them, because you can see a lot of the tags, when we catch those, we will not be offering them restorative justice.
Right.
It was only because the 2 that were caught, we look at the circumstances and everything around it, so the individual, how sorry they are, how much of the graffiti is around, if it's suitable for that person, that crime. So those 2 are below level graffiti, that's why it was deemed suitable for them, but each person is dealt with individually. So Ascot and Basic certainly won't be getting that, because we're still very keen obviously to catch those, and that's why obviously we're doing dropping sessions at school. We're running a couple of operations, we'll be doing plain clothes, we'll be getting more officers in, which will be spread across Droitwich. But it just depends on circumstances and individuals and the extent of the problem. It may be suitable for some and not for others. So just because those 2 have had it doesn't mean that everyone else is going to get that, because I don't deem that appropriate for some of the other ones which are still causing issues today.
That's good, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions? Well, many thanks for that. That's, oh, sorry, did you? Sorry. Oh, right.
It's all good.
Many thanks again. I know you're working very hard in the town, and we're very grateful. And I think it's great to have such a great, very thorough report from you. And I hope you'll manage to get to all our meetings.
I always try to get to these ones.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, do we have a report from the high school? Yeah. There he is. Yes, you're hiding away there. Okay, greetings. Yes.
Alright, so first I'd just like to introduce myself. So hi, I'm Jack. I'm one of the new representatives from the high school. So that's part of the update, is we've had a changeover in the committee. Recently the year 13s have now left, so now it is under year 12. So there are more of us than just me, but unfortunately they couldn't be today. So, and in the future you might not just see me as well, because we've changed the format of the council. So now there is 12 people part of it who then rotate. So currently I am one of the senior members, but that might not always be the case. And I'm not sure if you're already aware of this, because I'm not 100% sure when your last meeting was, but the school got a good result in the Ofsted. They were deemed good by Ofsted. And also in around Easter, just gone, the head teacher has changed. So now we have Mr. Brooks, our head teacher. So
Yeah.
any questions at all?
I sat next to him at the Wizard of Oz last week, actually. I'm coming to see your production of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that. So.
Oh, you're
I'm
not in it?
part of
Are you in it?
No, I'm not part of it.
Oh, right. Have we got any questions to?
Is there anything you would like me to note down to talk about next time?
I'd just like to ask a question. people I've seen that come talk to us, do you get training on public speaking?
There's an option to do a public speaking, like enrichment, it's called, in year 12, but it's only an option. I didn't do that for my option. So.
Thank you.
It's a good question now. Yes, yes, thank you, Councillor Morrison.
Okay, hello. What would be good is if you're happy to do this, to update on the structure of the school council, because I know you have a number of specialisms, and I think that's good for the council to understand.
Okay.
Yeah, how it's set up.
So initially, the electoral process was run in pairs. So you've got 6 pairs, which is 12 people, and each pair is delegated an area. So me and my pair is finance. So we deal with the school's finances, fundraising, all of that. And then there's also connections to the lower school, because that's a big initiative at the minute for the high school, is to break down the divide between the sixth form and the lower school, because at the minute it's quite divided. Then there's well-being for the wider school and sixth form as well. There's a sports initiative, so there's a pair who is involved with a lot of sports. There's one through the arts as well, because the school's trying to increase the value put on the arts at the minute.
You've got an eco one as well.
Yes, yeah.
And we're always very interested to hear about the fundraising for the charities you're doing.
Yes,
So that's something we're very keen to hear about.
So, well,
And
yeah,
achievements of individuals within the school as well, achievements of them. Like we had the Achievement Award. Sorry, Councillor Frank. Sorry.
It was just something maybe for you to discuss yourselves, if there's any way you need us to support you.
this is what, sorry.
If there's any way that you need us to support
Oh, us to
yourselves.
support, you support us. I will have to take that back to the committee.
Yeah.
So we meet weekly. So we just had a meeting today actually where we began to plan these sort of activities for the end of year 12 and to begin to plan the fundraising event for the charities week, which will be in the Christmas sort of time. Because last year we had our school record, I'm not 100% sure on the figure, but it's been the highest ever because we had a lot of support from Lloyds Bank to do with that. So.
Any more questions? Yes, Councillor Tudor.
Well, considering you haven't had any training,
Yeah.
When I was your age, I would no more have stood out to stand in front of all these people and speak than fly around the moon. So I want to congratulate you on what you've just done today.
Well done.
Many thanks for that. I look forward to seeing, perhaps not you, but the other people in the
For you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Youth Council, we've not actually met since the last council that we had. We've got a meeting on Friday, which will be the next one. At Friday's meeting, we will elect a chair, secretary and treasurer for the Youth Council. And now the Youth Council is made up through the school pyramid. We have a lot of nominations from the middle and the first schools. It should be interesting if they get elected to be chair, because in the past it's always been high school. So that will be interesting. They did have their first initiative, which was the Walk to School Week, which was very successful, and Rivers Fitness are supporting with some prizes because they ran a competition over that Walk to School Week. One of the next initiatives you may have seen is their petition to try and get a youth centre in the centre of the town. So I've already had nearly 100 letters from the schools to try and support that, and I'm going to bring them along, I think, to the next whichever district council to present the petition for the town centre, youth centre. And then in the autumn, they are looking to do something more on litter and recycling. So that's their focus at the moment in terms of their agenda.
That's one of the problems with the youth centres. The meeting I was at last week on this is getting volunteers to run them. It's not just the building, is it? It's getting the volunteers, getting the adults to do it. So best of luck with it. Anything I can do to help, please let me know.
Good.
Okay, the next 3 items I think are from information. Let's just go through them. The internal auditors year-end report, the period ending 31st of March 2024. Sam Clark.
I think it's, as presented, Chairman, there's not a lot on it actually. It's a summary from Kevin, the internal auditor's visit, which was the 13th of May. The responses are all on there. Most of the recommendations have been addressed already. So.
Well, thank you. Item 9, no, that was item 9. Item 10, governance statement. Receive and approve the Town Council annual governance statement made as part of the annual return report for the year ended 31st of March.
So that was the statement from the internal auditor that goes off to the external auditor. So that's the assurance statement. If you're happy with that, I've signed that, and you signed it. And the next item, so you can take these three together really, but we will need to vote on them, is the annual accounts, which is the page 5 of 6 of the form that's gone out.
Big numbers there. Lots of commas, yeah. So yeah, I think we've seen those, haven't we? Nice sums as well.
They've all gone out. If the members have got any questions, you can take them now or contact me separately.
Are there any questions on any of that before we move on to a vote? I'm sure Mark will show you in great detail should you want to. Okay, can I have a proposal that we accept those three items? Councillor Duffy, and a second there, Councillor Brooks. Beat me to it. Thank you. Thank you very much. All in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Oh, we abstain, yeah. Nothing personal, is it, really? Right, going on to item 12, Councillor Brooks. Glad to see you're still here. And you can report to us on the neighbourhood plan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'm happy to present the report as printed and circulated. And I'd also just like to take this opportunity to thank our town clerk and staff, an awful lot of behind the scenes work they've been doing to make things happen. And I think the bottom line summary is that we are on course to achieve our objectives of the neighbourhood plan. And I'm looking forward to that coming to fruition. There's still a few more steps to go through. And I think also there was some doubt about the financial side from government, and I think that we've now had some favourable information.
Yes, I'm very general on that. So just two things. The plans are quite a pivotal point, the draft plan, because the next steering group meeting we think will be the 1st of August. I'll confirm that for all members. If members are interested, they can attend. Councillor Duffy, Councillor Brooks are part of that delegation anyway, but it's open to all members. But at that meeting, we hope to review all of the draft. So it's the first draft of all the policies that will make up the content of the plan. There's quite a lot, of the 17 or 18. We're looking at the 1st of August, but it still needs 2 or 3 policies finishing, and that's why we're still a bit tentative with the date, or it'll be shortly after then, but I will confirm by mid-July. And then just, Councillor Brooks, you mentioned the funding. We should be eligible for approximately another £8,000 to £9,000, which will take us to the maximum 18 for the project. Have to reapply for that each summer, and because of the general election, the opportunity has opened in the last week or so. So I hope to be able to do that during the next week to 10 days, and then we've got that security that certainly the professional fees are covered as cost neutral.
Yes, thank you very much. Any questions to either Councillor Brooks or Town Clerk? No. So we're moving on with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully next meeting we'll have a full report and we won't be tied in with further and whatever. Okay, item 11, we can take on block, can't we, the minutes of the meetings, planning, community meetings and resources. Everybody happy with these? I think we have a proposer, they're accepted. Thank you, Councillor Duffy. And the seconder, Councillor Mrs. Brayer, Councillor Mrs. Brayer, yes. You got in quicker that time. Right, and all those in favour? Any against? Abstention. Okay. Right, item 14, Droitwich Place Board update. Yeah, this is me, isn't it? Actually, we've got a meeting of the Place Board tomorrow, haven't we? So, there's not a lot to report since the last one. The main thing is that motorcycle event I mentioned in my announcement. I don't actually know a lot about it. I'm not going to be here either. So can you fill in on that a bit?
No, we can't, except we're going to have a motorcycle even.
So we'll have to fill you in on that at a later date, but that's one of the things. We're also progressing, of course, with the LIDO project, which is coming up to the executive board next week. Oh no, a couple of weeks later, in July. July, yeah. After the general election, yeah. That's what it seems like a different world. And we've also, we're progressing with the various art projects. I think they're very exciting, aren't they? Like me, you may have some mixed feelings on the floral displays on the high street. I am the one who voted against those, so I'm not going to show my bias, but perhaps we'll talk about those later. Yes, Councillor.
Are we kind of like something against plastic flowers or
Yes.
something like that?
Yes, I have got a lot against, as my family business is in horticulture. Going back up to the north of England, we deal in live flowers. That's the reason I objected. We'll leave that one. Anything else I need to report? We've got the health corridor still progressing, haven't we?
Yeah, also Droitwich and Bloom starting. So Droitwich and Bloom, there's a few visual displays around the town to support Droitwich and Bloom, and there's a trail to actually go around them for the younger generation. You can get those from, we get them from here, I think,
Yeah.
from here, from Nellie's Yard and from Ace Essentials. You can get little books that take you around the floral displays. And we're trying to do something with Tower Hill as well, which will, the team here are involved with that because we want to try and get a connection between what we're trying to do here with the museum, with Tower Hill as well, to give some history to the Brine. So that would be worthwhile.
Yes. Okay. So we have to say we have got a meeting tomorrow, so that's good. Moving on to county council matters. Who's doing this one?
Yeah, I'm happy to kick off. So first thing is just to say I've been given a new cabinet position at Worcestershire County Council. So I'm 3-4 weeks in now, so I'm cabinet position for adult social care. So that covers everything to do with 18 plus adults. So obviously a big concentration there is older people in the community, people with disability, long-term illness, people with mental health problems, and those who look after someone or are carers. So, yeah, I know it's a big ask. I will do my best to support Worcestershire in that area. So any concerns or issues in that area, please do bring to my attention. Secondly, I've gone on to the governance board for the Droitwich Wellbeing Hub on Westlands. So we've been given a grant of £95,000 from Public Health, but that's not just for the Wellbeing Hub, but it's also to support the community on the Westlands as well. So initially, our initiatives are a school community reading pod, after school club, upcycling bike project, holiday activities, community garden and planting, which we're trying to get off the ground, and community art wall, which I know George is involved in a number of these initiatives as well. Thirdly, Valley Walk and Ledwich Canal bridges are now open and they look pretty good, I think. There has been an issue with fencing being left behind, so that's been reported, but some fencing will stay because it's protecting growth of shrubbery to support the bridge. And we're still working on some of the signage to go along there as well. So the signage was taken down, it's now being worked on, but there will be signage back around those canal bridges. Fourth, resurfacing, patching paths and yellow lines. I've grouped that all together. So there's patching being conducted on Chawson Lane, resurfacing of George Bayliss Road imminent. There's yellow lines, which has gone through council to go at the end of Blackfriars. That was asked for by residents because of the obstruction with cars turning and the traffic for the school. And similarly on Selverstone Way as well, to enable people to get clearly out of the Dale and Chawson Pleck. There's lights going on the railway crossing at the bottom of Colford Walk as well to try and help safety in that area. And then one that I missed off the list that I circulated was the resurfacing of Brian Mill Mini Roundabout. So a number of you, when you travel up towards the school, will see that there's a mini roundabout connecting Westwood Road and Westwood Way that is pretty yuck, and that's down to be resurfaced at the beginning of July. So the end of July, when school breaks up, the end of July.
Any questions to the county councillor? Anything to add for anybody? I can't imagine a more important role than that, or social care one
It's
actually.
the highest budget of the county council.
Yes, it's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, it's quite astonishing, really. So best of luck with that.
Okay.
And I'm sure we've all got best interest in that one. Yeah. District council matters. Who's volunteered or been volunteered to do this one?
I'm happy to give a few updates.
I go on then.
Having, well, as we've already heard, Wood's Haven continues to do good work with the Place Forge, and have begun their annual Droitwich in Bloom activities for members of the town. A lot of Wood's Haven's time and effort at the moment is obviously in the general election prep, as all elections in the area are handled by Wood's Haven as the local authority. But in the meantime, there have been some good news coming out of Wood's Haven. Malvern Hills and Wood's Haven district councils have become the first councils in Worcestershire to formally be recognised for their commitment to building a diverse and inclusive workforce. As well as this, Wood's Haven have been shouting about a chance to dig into Wood's Haven's past and exciting projects to unearth the hidden secrets of one of Wood's Haven's major tourist attractions. Takes place next month and residents can get involved. So if anyone's got a particular interest in digging, get in touch. So I'll make sure these are circulated afterwards. As well as that, and a bit closer to home, Wood's Haven's parks and open spaces are now even greener thanks to the introduction of 2 new measures to cut carbon emissions and boost biodiversity. But beyond that,
I must say the paths in Lido Park have gone down very well with the people using them. And obviously been very busy. So that's
part of the town, I think we will.
Any other district council got anything to add to that, or any questions from anybody else? Thank you for those 2 reports. That's great. We now move on to item 17, which I'm very pleased we've got because it's something we raised a few years ago, which has disappeared off the radar. So it's a proposal for consideration of a dementia awareness training book to support local businesses and shop owners. And this is being proposed by Councillor Dillon. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as you've already highlighted, the proposal is to consider support for initiative to coordinate and deliver dementia awareness trainings for local businesses, shop workers in Droitwich. Collaborating with Droitwich CBS, Droitwich Spa Business Association and Worcester County Council. In addition to consider the scope for financial contribution towards part funding when the service delivery costs for the training have been fully outlined. This will go through the committee referral to the Resources Committee. It is also to request all Droitwich Town Spa Council elected members pledge to sign up for and participate in the training module. Now, I've handwritten my notes, so let's see if I can read my own writing. So I've been torn on how I should speak to this. The proposal really kind of speaks for itself. So the research says there are more than 944,000 people in the UK who have dementia. 1 in 11 people over the age of 65 have dementia. The number is increasing as we live longer. Now, I know there was a similar proposal a few years back. What I'm proposing here is that a training session, which will be delivered by Age UK, be given to all businesses, shop workers who have an interaction with the general public. The course will include areas such as ensuring shops and businesses are dementia friendly in their layout, for example. It also includes the signposting, which is where Worcester County Council coming in. I don't feel that council should lead this, but however, I feel we should facilitate it with the relevant bodies already mentioned. Why have I brought this to council? One, as a town, we're it's an aging population in the town. And 2, this is very personal for me, as my dad has dementia. So I'm seeing the effect that this has had on him, who, when he was younger, he could build a kitchen out of recycled wood. Now he can barely.
Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
Now he can barely use a light switch. So he isn't always aware of his surroundings. And yes, he is my mother as a carer, but he tends to wander off. And a peace of mind would be that there'll be people in our town that can pick up signs and know what to do. There used to be a thing called dementia-friendly towns. However, this sadly doesn't exist anymore. We have one group already that supports people with dementia in the town, and there soon to be another. But this horrendous disease affects the carer of most of all. So if we can give peace of mind to them, that'd be very much welcome. So my proposal is that we support this training and ensure Droitwich is becomes a dementia aware town, and that no one is left behind. So I'm very pleased.
Thank you, Councillor Della. Very moving, Della. Councillor Morris, I think you want to second this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and yeah, and thank you, Rick, for bringing this forward. And you know, we can clearly see how important it is to yourself, and I know you speak on behalf of many families who are affected by it as well. In seconding this, I passed it through to County Council, and they welcome the motion and really do want to support it. And that's from the public health perspective, and they want to be involved. They can discuss it with the health work team, and that is the Work Well, Live Better programme manager, who's looking into how county can support, and will be in contact with the town council to see what we can do in partnership. So county are on board to support it as best they can, but where you're coming from, Rick, is to get the town more supportive and more aware, and Droitwich Business Association, which has some of the traders as members, really welcome it too, and would like to take the training up and enable Droitwich to be a dementia-friendly town.
Thank you very much, Councillor Franks.
Obviously, I'm in a very frustrated position where I can't vote for your motion, but I think you know you absolutely have my support, and if there's any way I can help at all, just let us know, please, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor. Mrs. Humphries.
Councillor Humphries. No, Mrs.
Oh, you don't want the Mrs. All right,
No,
I stand corrected.
Yeah, Councillor Val Humphries. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for bringing this motion, which had Councillor Morris not seconded it, my hand was ready to go up, because it's something that I'm very passionate about. As some people who've been on the council for a while may know, because it's when I made my speaking debut at a council meeting when this came up once before. Unfortunately, I wasn't elected an elected member, and I'm not meant to do that apparently. But this is something that I've wanted to see in Droitwich for a long time, because someone that's dementia friendly is friendly to a lot of other long-term health conditions, disabilities, and just to older people generally. Anywhere that's had that training, that will make life easier for people like me who live with a disability. Because if people are going to be friendly to anyone with dementia, that will have a knock-on effect to other things as well. But I've also seen the devastation of dementia as well personally, and absolutely, wholeheartedly support this. So thank you so much for bringing this.
Councillor Davison.
Yeah, as a former carer of a 105-year-old father, I understand what it's like. I like to put in a word, because we have their charity shop in town for the Worcestershire Association of Carers, who seem to be coming up with more and more information if it's required by carers.
Absolutely. Anybody else like to speak? Yeah. Yes, Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. Just a small point, but this is what Councillor Dillon was saying earlier about the sort of scheme and the name and so on not being sort of public anymore. I can see absolutely no reason why we shouldn't have a logo, sign, whatever, and put it up on the town. You know, let's just do it ourselves. Again, I would like to see this happen again. I think like probably everyone here has had some experience of it with my mother-in-law, my sense of, you know. I've been very happy to support, and certainly I don't see a reason why we shouldn't have Droitwich and dementia-friendly and aware town, or whatever you want.
Sure, very few of us are not touched by this. Most of you know my mother-in-law actually died with dementia earlier in the year, so I very much support proper chair actually this. Anybody else like to speak? I think the results are going to be a foregone conclusion, to be honest. But right, can I ask for all those in favour of the motion? Any against? Councillor Frank, sorry, you've got to say sorry about that. But, okay, that's, I think that's a wonderful motion. Thank you, Councillor Diller, for bringing that up. And I know it was quite difficult for you to do that. We're all absolutely with you, absolutely. Right, the final item, I've got one little item after this actually, but it counts for payment. Which,
Yes, Chairman, the list's gone out, and there's one supplementary, which is 6,558. That's for the land survey layouts and proposals for the museum project.
Thank you. Can I have a proposer for accepting that, Councillor Brooks, the seconder, Councillor Duffy, all those in favour? It's my last little point is, it's the first time I've actually seen what Katie does here. But she's got this wonderful machine that shows the pictures, but it actually says, streaming, it says category entertainment. So who needs the Euros, instead of watching England later in the week, much less nerve-wracking, watch a rerun of this meeting. Anyway, many thanks for the meeting. It's been an excellent, positive meeting. Many thanks, and I declare it closed.